What's up, everyone? It's Wacka. Welcome you to more Mega Evolution thoughts for the draft format. Um, I've seen a lot of people cover the new Megas already, but a lot of the people that play singles are talking about them in a VGC context, which is nice because I've actually been enjoying VGC a lot on Pokemon Champions. Um, although I guess I got bored like the last like week or two of the format, but I think the new megas are actually really good. The ones that were introduced in Regulation MB. Um, I think we got like 12 new megas to talk about, so why don't we get started? But we're gonna talk about them in a draft context, specifically like a Natdex draft format. So where's our first guy at? All right. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to talk about a stinker first up. Scolipede. All right, so this guy, um, why is my? I wanted to show the stats and shit too. Girl, I have a video that's like trying to get uploaded. Okay, I'm almost there. uh, I don't have to show the base stat total, but I like the base stat totals. Okay, there we go. All right, so our first mon to talk about is Mega Scolipede, which got decent stat buffs, to be honest. Plus 40 in attack, plus 60 defense, plus 30 special defense, um, plus 20 special attack, I guess. Although it's special, I think its special move pool is like very, 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 very shallow, which is not saying much because you're not ever gonna run special Mega Scolipede or even just a special Scolipede. But it's honestly its stat buffs are kind of nice. Its speed dropping to 62 kind of sucks for it though. But I guess if they made it faster, here's my thought as to why they made Scolipede the way they made it. I think they didn't want to make it just a better Mega Beedrill because they could have just made it a Mega Beedrill but better. Because I believe Beedrill, man, what is his HP stat? I don't have let me check the prep doc actually, because I'll have to open this up later anyways. I'm gonna open up my prep doc. Let me just compare Mega Scolipede to Mega Beedrill really quick. Oh, Mega Beedrill has 65 HP. For some reason, I was like, what if Beedrill had like 80 HP out of nowhere? But no, it's 65. That sounds about right. So Beedrill has 10 more attack, 5 more HP, 109 less defense, and it has 19 less special defense. So Mega Scolipede isn't like that much tankier on the special side, but on the physical side, it's like hella tankier. Um, but the main difference is Mega Scolipede has like no speed compared to Beedrill. Let me put regular Scolipede here too, actually. Scolipede. Yeah. Even like regular Scolipede is like its base stat total is like only a little less than Mega Beedrill. But yeah, I think the thing with Mega Beedrill in between these two is like Beedrill's ability is a lot better. I think for such a kind of frail typing, because you're weak to fire, you're weak to flying, psychic, rock. Rock and I mean, rock is a common typing. Fire is a pretty common like coverage. Flying, psychic, not like so super common, but I think if you're facing like a Beedrill or a Scolipede, you might slap the random like flying or psychic coverage for them. Like you might see like a psychic Thunderous or something to hit Scolipede, for example. But yeah, this thing like it really did not get a good ability. Shell armor just isn't really that great on Scolipede. Like I'm sure there's scenarios where it could be good, but it's not a its HP is too low to really consider it like a super tanky mon. But if I had to guess, like they made it slow because it would have just been a better Mega Beedrill, in like every way, because regular Scolipede is already like pretty close to Beedrill, and like if you increase the attack and speed, um, like if you increase its stats like incrementally to like um how other megas would have done it, like um I think a good example here is like the Chandelure. Like Chandelure kind of gains stats where it kind of like incrementally made sense in a lot of ways. Like its defenses were already higher than its speed, so its defenses are gonna be raised a bit higher than its speed, if that makes sense. So like Scolipede could have like gained 50 speed, for example. It probably would have only gained like 35 speed at most, because I don't think they would have made it faster than like Mega Arrow or like the Z Megas. If they made it like 148, that's like, or 147, I think that's like the fastest they would have made it. Um, I feel like I'm not really making sense, and that's because I haven't gotten a lot of sleep. But like, if I am making sense, I hope it does make sense. I think that its attack went up to like where I thought it would be, if it received like a proper mega, but instead of getting all the speed, like it got the defenses, because it would have just been a better Beedrill. And it has better coverage than Beedrill, to be honest. They actually gave it Gunk Shot, so it in practice it actually has, because what was Mega Beedrill's attack? 150. It's only slightly weaker than Adaptability Poison Jab while running Gunk Shot, because adaptability is, no, it's a plus. No, it's a 2 times stab. Fuck, now I want to calc this. Okay, we're gonna calc. We'll just keep the Abomasnow up there, to be honest. Alright, so Mega Beedrill. Poison Jab is barely enough to KO, according to the weird, fast, no bulk Abomasnow that we're seeing. Um, so what about Scolipede? If I'm running Gunk Shot on Scolipede, and then we're making Mega Scolipede, Gunk Shot is actually quite stronger than Mega Beedrill. Yeah, so I guess the power difference between Gunk Shot and Poison Jab is a lot better than Mega Beedrill. So I guess Mega Beedrill is actually weaker in some instances. I mean, Mega Beedrill's bug moves are stronger, but also at the same time, Beedrill has to run. Honestly, its best bug move is U-turn, or I think it gets lunge. But Mega Scolipede gets Mega Horn, which is gonna do the same damage. Yeah, so it's actually, I guess in theory it's hitting harder than Beedrill, but also Beedrill has pivoting and the speed is very nice for it. Beedrill also gets like knockoff and again, yeah, U-turn. So I could see a world where Beedrill is just better than Scolipede, mostly because of the speed tier, but Scolipede actually does similar damage. So I'm actually kind of happy I labbed that out a little bit, because now I actually think Scolipede's actually okay. I still think though, like this is probably nowhere above like 8 points. It's like 8 points max, because regular Scolipede is still typically priced around like 10 points. I don't really know why, because I think regular Scolipede kind of sucks now, but um, I think you could price it around like 8. But something I was thinking, like a shower thought I had about Mega Scolipede, was what if the intention is to make it like a bad Ting Lu? Or like a Ting Lu with like decent offenses, because Ting Lu's attack set is like 110. The Scolipede has 140, and it's faster. You could also run speed boost pre Mega. Um, 62 speed isn't awful. I mean, you have to stay like non Mega for like 2 turns to make it worth it. But I honestly, you could theoretically make Mega Scolipede work as a sweeper, but you could also make it work as like a spike stacker because it has a decent defensive typing. Um, you resist grass, fighting, poison, bug, fairy. So like having the fairy resist is very nice. Like you're resisting like Mega Floet's barrage, and you resist Sneasler. You probably handle something like Mega Lopunny pretty decently. So you can run like spikes, T spikes, and just kind of make it a hazard bot if you want it to. But um, I I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential with Scolipede, but anyways, that's kind of all the time I want to spend on Scolipede. I think the rest of these mons are a lot easier to talk about, so hopefully I won't be spending 10 minutes on each of them. But yeah, Scrafty got Intimidate as its ability. So you can run Intimidate normal Scrafty into Intimidate Mega Scrafty. You could also run like Moxie Scrafty in regular form, and then like if you can get a KO with Moxie Scrafty, then you can Mega Evolve, and then you can get the Intimidate if a physical attacker is trying to come in to revenge kill you, like something like um I was gonna say Iron Valiant, but Iron Valiant's an awful example. Something like maybe a Sneasler. Honestly, I think after like an Intimidate drop, you could probably live a close combat from Sneasler. Um, and you can probably like Dragon Dance on it again, and then you're at +2 attack, +1 speed. I think +1 speed with 68 base speed can outspeed something like a Sneasler. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I definitely think you can outspeed that because I in a team tour I've done before, one of our people had Mega Scrafty, and I'm pretty sure Dragon Dance outsped like Torn T. I Intimidate's honestly a pretty solid ability for it. It activates on switch in regardless if you switch out and switch in, but also having like the double Intimidate strats is very nice. Um, you could even run like a Shed Skin, like regular Scrafty strat if you're trying to come in on like a Will-O-Wisp or something like that. Like there's a lot you could do with Scrafty like pre and post Mega, which is nice. So I kind of like that quite a bit actually. It's a good setup sweeper. It's pretty fat. 65 HP isn't great, but increasing its attack set to 130 means that Drain Punch is going to be doing a whole lot more damage. Um, so it'll be healing back more with its HP. Like you could actually compare its physical. No, honestly, you could compare its bulk to like Diancie. So yeah, we're gonna put this in the calc again. Scrafty. We're gonna change it to Mega Scrafty, and we're just going to run max HP. We're just gonna run max HP. I'm gonna run an Adamant Nature. We have the Drain Punch, and we're gonna run this into. We'll run it into what's something that Fairy and Fighting both hit neutrally? Um, why can't I think of a type that Fighting and Fairy both hit neutrally? Fucking, am I stupid? Um, Water. Okay, so we'll calc this into an Alomomo. No, we're not gonna do fucking Aloe. That's kind of rough. We'll do a Gastrodon actually. Okay, so Drain Punch from Scrafty with just with no attack investment. Drain Punch does 26 to 31 to like a mixed defensive Gastrodon. That's not too bad. I mean, if you're investing in attack and then you're like +1. Oh, what? I'm not adamant. Drain Punch does 35 to 41%. I'm healing back 22 to 26. Gastrodon, fuck, what's... we're, we're gonna calc a Sludge Bomb. We're gonna calc a Sludge Bomb because it's gonna be neutral into Diancie, and Scrafty. So this is Mega Scrafty. Drain Punch is 35 to 41. Sludge Bomb is doing 14 to 16. Now let's count the Diancie with Draining Kiss. And we're gonna run Modest Max Special Attack. Because I think I ran max HP. Sludge Bomb is also doing 14.1 to 16.8. And Draining Kiss is healing back less than the Drain Punch. Probably because Draining Kiss is a weaker move, but yeah, so you're actually like about as tanky as a Diancie, and you have a little bit stronger of a recovery move in Drain Punch. I think Drain Punch might only heal 50%, whereas Draining Kiss heals 75%. So I guess Diancie's lower HP makes up for it, but it's like very similar bulk. That's kind of my that's my point to all this. The main problem with Scrafty is its typing being very weak to Fairy. But it's honestly a decent mon. There are a lot better fighting types out there that people will definitely want. Like people still like you want your Mega Lopunny. You have both of the Urshifus available. You have like something like Quackleval available, Iron Hands, which doesn't even get drafted. Mega Chestnut is pretty popular right now in draft because Mega Chestnut is even bulkier and has a higher attack stat. Grass Fighting is like a worse typing though, but Scrafty also has better coverage and I think its offensive typing is a lot better and its speed is better in terms of setting up. So I guess Scrafty has that going for it over Chestnut. Not a bad mon. I think it's going to be like 10 points though. It also didn't keep Parting Shot from Legends ZA, which I don't know why they didn't just let it keep Parting Shot, because it would have been nice if this thing had a niche over like Incineroar in VGC, but I guess they wanted to keep Incineroar in the meta, so fuck you, I guess. Eel is an interesting mon. They gave it a new ability, which is just Levitate. Elevate, which, let's be honest though, this ability name is genius. I can't believe no one has ever thought of this type of thing before. But it actually, I think this was this a SpongeBob reference? Because wasn't like some board game that SpongeBob and Patrick played like snakes and eels, and the eels were like the elevators, so it was like an elevator. Maybe there's like some other, I don't know. Maybe there's just like something I don't know about that, like eels are elevated, levitating. I don't know. But Eel is pretty solid. It actually has a pretty good base stat total at 615. 515 is pretty high for a mon like Eel, where it's just kind of like average all around. Um, Getting the 30 speed isn't bad for it. There are scenarios where I think it would have rather cut that 50 speed and would have probably rather had bulk. But the thing with Elevate is that it's Levitate plus Beast Boost, which is really interesting. And I labbed this guy out last night when the abilities were revealed. Eel is basically only going to get an attack or a special attack boost. Um, you can boost special defense, but it requires you to like not run as like it requires you to run like a minus attack nature and then like zero special attack investment. And if you want defense or speed, you have to be playing like the NatDex format without like the Champions EV IV system. Because if you're running in the Champions EVs and IV system, you cannot boost defense or speed because your attack set is just too high to make it do that. So the only time you'll be seeing Eel speed boost is in Nat decks where you can change your IV stats. I think you have to be like minus attack, and you have to be like 8 EVs in attack or less, and then your special attack you have to be like 20 EVs or less, and then you can boost speed or defense. I think the main thing with Eel, I really wish it gained more bulk, but honestly, these attack stats they're very good. Eel is a phenomenal mixed attacker already. It has really awesome mixed coverage. You get Flamethrower, you get Thunderbolt, you get Dragon Pulse for, I mean, Dragon Pulse is good coverage for other dragon types. You get knockoff, you get close combat, you get drain punch, you get coil. I think you get coil and bulk up for whatever reason you'd ever want to run that. And coil's nice if you want to run like Supercell Slam, good for like Iron Tail. You get Fire Punch, Thunder Punch. It gets fucking everything. Liquidation even. It's just gonna be a really solid mon. I think also like 10 points. The main problem with Eel is like it's not 80 speed is just an awkward speed tier where like it it's not worth running speed, but also the bulk 85, 80, 90 is kind of not that good anymore. So Eel's main thing is you're gonna have to be able to find those scenarios where you can come in on those ground types that just can't really touch you, and a lot of ground types are slower than you and really weak to something like Giga Drain if you're gonna run something like that. You could do that. Eel's also probably still good into like other flying types. Um, Something like Zapdos isn't gonna really want to like stay in on you like all too much. So I suppose Eel it has its matchups for sure. And I have faced Mega Eel in the team tour that I did, and it performed really well. After a coil boost, it is really hard to kill, especially on the physical side. And the 145 attack is really hard to switch in on when it has so much coverage, even on just both sides. Like it's just really hard to handle. You also get both U-turn and volt switch, so you don't kind of get trapped in by ground types. Because something I've encountered with stuff like Belly Bolt, which I love Belly Bolt by the way, and I am gonna compare Eel to Belly Bolt because they're both like slow electric types. Eel is so much better at actually pivoting because Belly Bolt just can't hit ground types for shit. Whereas Eel has coverage for ground types and it gets U-turn, and levitate obviously. So having elevate is just pretty cool for it, and having beast boost on top of that is just good added bonus to be honest. I think solid 10 points. I could see its value going up. I could also see it going down. Just kind of depends because when you're running these guys, like have to over you're gonna have to like overvalue them at first because for one they're new toys, and then for two like there's stuff that really falls under the cracks like I'll talk about it later, but like Mega Scovillain like definitely fell through the cracks. I think Mega Scovillain is actually a lot more solid than people give it credit for, even in singles. Alright, next up is one of my more thought upon megas. So you got Mega Pyroar, which got the ability Fire Main, which is basically Dragon's Maw, not Transistor because Transistor got nerfed, but it has a Dragon's Maw for fire moves, which is cool. Its special attack set is a lot higher than Regidrago. Because if you think about Regidrago's running like Outrage or Dragon Claw, or it's running Dragon Energy or Draco, but Draco's 130 base power is good, but like also you're only able to click it like once. I think Fire is a lot more spammable of coverage, and also Pyro doesn't have moves that are like HP reliant. Where like Dragon Energy is a really good move. It's like Water Spout, but for Dragon types. You really have to baby the Regidrago in order for it to like do the best work it can with like Specs or Scarf Dragon Energy. Whereas Pyro is just naturally a lot faster than a lot of the meta. Yeah, a lot of the meta. A lot of teams. You'll probably only face like 5 or 6 teams out of 16 that have a mon faster than Pyroar. And if they have a mon faster than Pyroar, it's like you have your Tapu Koko, you have your Spectre, which Pyroar naturally walls the shit out of Spectre. Spectre has to run Mudshot for you, and I think Mudshot really doesn't do that much damage to something like Pyro. Um, you're running into like your Mega Lopunnies, your Iron Bundles, and after that, like your Dio Speed. those are like the Dragapult as well, actually. Which Dragapult isn't like the best matchup for you, but your bulk is also really good, so it really shouldn't be an issue for Pyro. Pyro actually has a naturally like high base stat total. It just wasn't really like it really just wasn't distributed that well, but now it's a lot better distributed despite it having like plus 20 in all its stats. Like it feels like it's a lot better distributed. Um Although 88 attack isn't the best, but like if you think about it like Mega Eel, you're probably only going to use one of your attack stats in some cases. Even if you look at something like Mega Float's attack set is 85, that's not that far off from Pyro's 88, for example. And Pyro has a lot more physical bulk in terms of HP and defense. Special defense isn't that bad. 86 is like a very usable stat, and 126 speed is like really holding it up. Fireman is a really good ability. Now it is weaker than something like Houndoom, but that's or Mega Houndoom, but that's like Mega Houndoom in the sun. Whereas if you're in the sun with Mega Pyro, you have the Fire Main boost, and you're getting a Sun boost. So it's just very, very strong. I think it's very underrated. And like for the most part, like you're probably clicking your fire moves more than you're clicking like your normal moves. Um, One of the things I wish Pyro kept was Earth Power, because Earth Power Pyro like harassed everybody in Legend of ZA, and I thought it was really funny, but I'm actually surprised that they didn't let it keep Earth Power. They gave it Scorching Sands though, which I don't know if it had before or if it's new, but I suppose it's a decent tool for it. You have the chance to burn a switch in rather than like missing Will-O-Wisp, for example. And then your other coverage move is like Dark Pulse, which is fine if you need Dark Pulse to hit like the Ghost type. I don't know. Other than that, if you're running it on Sun though, you get Solar Beam, so that's cool. Next up, I actually want to talk about Floet again. I think I very like underrated Mega Floet because I think initially I said it was going to be like 12 points or like 11 points because I was like, oh, it's a pure fairy typing that has like no coverage. Doesn't matter. This special attack set with Fairy Aura and Light of Ruin or Moonblast, it just fucking kills everything. It doesn't even matter. Like the only mon that is switching in on this is like Galarian Slowking, to be honest, or like maybe like especially defensive Corviknight. So I just want to throw that out there. Also, Pyro is probably going to be like six. I don't want. It's going to be 7 or 6 points. Um, I think I initially told NGC I wanted it at like 8, but I could see it being lower. I could honestly see this thing falling to like 5 points or even less because in theory like it's just barely better than like Mega Houndoom, and Mega Houndoom like really fell off. And you also don't get Turin boots on it. Next up we have Mega Malamar. This thing is 2 points. Keeping Contrary is like best case scenario for it if they wanted to give it an ability that was good. Um, However, like its stats are just really garbage. Like, yeah, let's give its 68 special attack stat, make it 98. Okay. Its special defense stat going up to 120 is like good, but if it's coming at the cost of like all these other stats sucking ass, like it's not doing anything. It has like one resist. I think its only resist is the psychic immunity it has. Otherwise, it's weak to fairy and it's weak to U-turn, and like everyone in their gram like it's U-turn. So I don't really think people are gonna want to use Malamar. I think there's cases to be made where I think Malamar could be good in certain scenarios where if it's supported well by like your team, if you're running um a good mon with like static, Rocky Helmet supports, Flame Body even. I think Malamar could be good if it's supported well by like something like Zapdos and like a Flame Body mon. Or like a Moltres, Bellybolt type thing. I don't know. I can think of a lot of mons like static that are that. Um, I think Malamar could be well supported, but unfortunately, I don't think people are going to want to give it the time of day when there's just everything else is better than that. I think Mega Malamar is like probably the top three worst megas that they've ever made, unfortunately. It really does not get much worse than Malamar. Like, if you look at its stat line, like, it just looks like a Gen 5 Mon. It looks like I don't even know. I don't even know what I would compare it to. It's just not good. Barbercole, though, is pretty solid. They gave it tough claws, which I think was best case scenario for it because it got close combat, or I think it kept close combat rather, from Legends ZA. So having tough claws boosted close combat. And what is the tough claws boost? Um, tough claws, tough claws Pokemon. 30%. Okay. For some reason, I in my mind I thought it was 50%, but I've seen the 30% being thrown around a lot, so I was like, maybe it really is just 30%, but I still think 30% is a really solid boost to 140 base attack with close combat. Like, you're getting a free life orb boost off of close combat, um, which is now stab, and you're still getting like almost stab off of water coverage, like liquidation. So you're hitting hard with that. You have Night Slash. In terms of rock moves, though, I don't think it has any rock moves that are contact. Um, I don't think it does. I can't think of a rock move that makes contact other than a Cell Rock, which this thing obviously will not get. Rock fighting is an interesting typing. Let me look at Barbercole actually. So Mega Barbercole Tough Claws or rock fighting typing. You are weak to water, grass, fighting, ground, psychic, steel, and fairy. So okay, you have like that's 7 weaknesses. That's kind of a lot. You get a you resist U-turn, you resist rocks, you resist knockoff, you resist sludge bomb or like poison jab. I guess you resist fire and normal. So it has good resist, but also has really bad weaknesses. Like being weak to water is kind of rough. Being weak to fighting is rough. Ground is rough. Fairy is kind of rough. Steel is not like too bad. Psychic's not too bad. It's a very like polarizing typing, I guess, where you're really just gonna have to run it offensively, which it can do. I have a feeling some leagues will allow it to shell smash. I personally, I'm not gonna be the one that makes the mistake of allowing this thing with shell smash without seeing other leagues test it first because I just don't want to see. SDS is currently getting destroyed by Mega Starmie right now, and I can't see a world where like I would ever allow Mega Starmie ever again, unless it's Ubers, and if it's like 22, if it's like over 21 points, like I would allow Mega Starmie, but I don't think I really want to test Mega Barb. And plus, I think Shell Smash as a move just really muddies up something like a draft league format because you have to like really overvalue Mons like Mega Barb and Mega Blast with Shell Smash. Um, because their stats are just so good. Whereas like something like Cloyster has like no HP and no special defense, you can easily counter something like Cloyster in on a lot of scenarios. But Amon with 130 defense, 106 special defense, and 88 speed, like it's a lot faster than every other Shell Smasher. And it's a lot fatter than every other Shell Smasher as well, and a lot stronger with its attack stat, with a really fucking broken ability. Not a broken ability, but a really solid ability. And I really just don't want to see like you can have Mega Barb for 18 points with Shell Smash, or you can have Mega Barb for I think like 8, 9 points without Shell Smash, and I think I'd rather have the Mega Barb without Shell Smash for like 8 or 9 points because I think it's a lot cooler in that scenario because now you can run your stealth rock set. You can run your rock polish sets. I mean, I think rock polish is fine Shell Smash maybe not so much, but I think you could get away with Rock Polish Sweep Endgame. Rock Fighting is just a solid typing overall, and it has a better offensive ability than like Terrakion does. So if you can get off a Shell Smash, I think it's a lot better than something like Terrakion. Anyways, I talk about that guy a lot. Mega Dragalge, I am so happy that I got Regenerator. I saw in like the little leaked data mine before the megas were released, I saw something about tangled hair. I was like, oh my god, if they give Mega Dragalge tangled hair, I will actually kill myself. But thank God they gave it Regenerator. I think this is almost best case scenario for it. I will say, regular Dragalge is stronger because adaptability is just a really good ability on it. And having an item is very solid. But having Regenerator on Mega Dragalge really helps it with the hazards. The added extra bulk, especially in special defense, really helps it. The added special attack also helps because now you can run something like Scald or Hydro Pump or Focus Blast, and it'll actually like do damage to things now. Whereas like before, like you're better off just clicking Mono Poison and Dragon moves with regular Dragalge because Sludge Wave and Draco Meteor are just so much stronger than like Scald and Focus Blast on it. But now you can just run coverage and even you're a little bit tankier on like the physical side and having regen. It's the only mega to ever get regen, and it's a good slow pivot. It's definitely gonna have a niche in the draft format, and I could honestly see it going for like probably between like 11 and like 13 points to start off. I could see it going for less over time as people realize like, oh, this thing maybe just doesn't really hit as hard as it really wants to. In theory, its special tech stat is higher than Latios. Um, and it's bulkier. The Poison Dragon's a good defensive typing too. It has a lot going for it, but I think it also kind of has a lot against it because it's a mon without an item. I think 65 HP is like the main thing holding it back as well. Whereas it's going to be really tanky on the special side, but I don't think the physical defense is enough. If they kept its attack stat the same and they gave it like 115 defense, I think it would have looked a little bit better. But um, yeah, it just kind of has stats and like it's almost there. I think in terms of being like really solid. I think it'll eventually fall off, but yeah. Next up we got Phalanx. Phalanx got Defiant. I don't really have much to say about Phalanx. It's just gonna click no retreat, and I don't think it's gonna be a very high tier mon because it's regular Phalanx is stronger with like Life Orb, I think. Um, and you're probably calcing for Life Orb, and um, I don't know. I mean, you can outspeed regular Phalanx with a Choice Scarfer after no retreat. And Mega Flinks is a little bit harder to outspeed with Scarf, and it's a little bit harder to KO because its physical bulk is a lot better. Special bulk is a little bit better as well, but I think overall, like, you put a Covert Cloak on a Fairy type, you eat the Iron Head coming at you, and then you just kill it with Moonblast or, like, Pixelate Hyper Voice in some scenarios. Um, it's also slower than, like, Floette on, like, a base side, so I could see Phalanx having scenarios where it can sweep, but at the same time, I don't really think it's like a consistent mega at all. I don't think it's something that you want to use in a draft format unless you're just. Let me reword that. I think it's a mon that people will want to use because it's a fun mon, but it's not like it's not it's not bad either. It's just not like a draft Pokemon. I think it'll be like decent at like maybe like 7 or 6 points. You could also see it going lower too, but it's Phalanx. No abilities on these guys. Why are these labeled under events? I think they thought that these guys were going to be event Pokemon, and they weren't. Unless the event, I mean, if they're event Pokemon, so is Meowstic and Magearna, but okay. Anyways, all right. Oh, I forgot about the Raichus. We gotta talk about the Raichus. Raichu X has Electric Surge, which is very solid. It still has good stats, with 135 attack and 110 speed is still solid despite it not getting boosted up at all. It just means that they got to boost its defenses a lot more, and they didn't waste anything in its special attack, assuming that you want to use it as a physical attacker. The problem is that you might as well use it as a special attacker still because Rising Voltage and Electric Surge is just really strong. Um, in an overall vacuum, where if Mon's bulk is like more evened out, than it probably typically is, Rising Voltage hits harder than Volt Tackle, and you're not killing yourself because Volt Tackle does like, is it 33% recoil or is it 50% recoil? I don't know. Whatever the recoil is almost not really worth it because you're basically killing yourself. You're also not getting the +1 attack boost that Raichu X got in ZA. But I think the only reason they did that is to like kind of simulate it having Electric Surge, whereas Raichu Y just had the stats over it. Um, but Raichu X is honestly a solid Pokemon. Like, it has a lot of options. You can still run it as a special attacker. Like, you have to think about how Tapu Koko is ran as a special attacker, and it has about the same special attack set. I think Koko's like 95. 90 isn't like that far off of it, and Raichu has a pretty similar bulk too, because I think Koko. Let me see Tapu Koko compared to Raichu X. Mega Raichu X. Okay, so Koko has 10 more HP, 10 less defense, and 20 less special defense. It does have 95 over 90. But the nice thing about Raichu is it'll be cheaper, so it'll be a pretty good budget option for Electric Surge because you don't want to use Pincurchin. So I think Raichu is gonna support the Paradox Mons pretty well, assuming that someone else already had picked up Koko. And it has a lot better coverage than Koko because Koko has like Grass Knot and Dazzling Gleam, and that's kind of it. The Raichu X has like Surf, you get Focus Blast, you have Koko gets a Grass Knot too, but you also get I think you get Dazzling Gleam, but you also get Alluring Voice, and I think Alluring Voice is just a more solid move than Dazzling Gleam for what it is. Um, and you get Rising Voltage, where Koko doesn't get Rising Voltage, so you're hitting harder than Koko, unless Koko's like Specs or like a boosting item probably, but then you also have the physical option because Koko doesn't hit as hard as Raichu on the physical side, and Raichu has a higher attack stat. Um, I guess the only thing that Koko really has over Raichu is the speed. And yeah, in a lot of scenarios, the speed is gonna save you with Koko, but Raichu is just it's a good budget option. I think it's gonna be good for like 13 or 14 points. Because it has a lot over Koko, but Koko is just a little bit more consistent overall. Raichu Y is banned. Um, Having no guard is fucking insane, by the way. Um, I kind of wish they just gave it like transistor. Um, because yeah, these stats are wild. 130 speed is just really phenomenal. 160 special attack is great. And you have 160 special attack on a Mon that is running Zap Cannon with no drawback. You're running Focus Blast with no drawback. Um, I guess that's kind of it. But like Focus Blast and Zap Cannon are like enough to justify this thing being banned. I could see it being tested because it is very frail. You're probably going to Oko it, but the problem is like Zap Cannon just paralyzes everything. You get Surf for the ground types. You get Grass Knot for the ground types as well. Focus Blast can't miss, so you can just kill like most every Steel type unless they're Chople Berry. If they're not Chople Berry, then they're not They're not Covert Cloak or Lumberry, which means they're probably gonna get paralyzed and then get full paralyzed because that's how the game works. So yeah, I could honestly see this being allowable at some point, but I think for now people are going to probably stray away from it. If you are gonna allow Raichu Y, I probably make it like max points, and then you have to ban Sing on it. Um, in all fairness though, Raichu doesn't have Sing in Champions. I don't think it's had Sing since Gen 8, because I think it was like a Gen 8 move that it got for some reason, and then they removed it from its move pool, so it shouldn't have Sing. So I think if leagues are gonna allow like if you're gonna ban something like SD Lopunny, and if you're gonna ban like Shell Smash on the Blastoise and Barbacle, I think you could maybe get away with just banning like Zap Cannon on this thing and then allowing it. 'Cause Thunder is a little bit weaker, and Thunder isn't always paralyzing things. It's still paralyzing things, but it's only 30% as opposed to 100% that's also stronger. That's fucking insane. That's something I'll have to pull though for like SDS. I could see myself allowing Raichu Y, but it's gonna have to we're gonna have to ban Sing and Zap Cannon on it. Absol Z didn't get in, so none of the Z Megas made it in. I'm honestly kind of guessing that they're gonna have good abilities. Because I think in practice, I don't think something like Absol Z is better stat wise than like something like Mega Metagross, which they did put in MB. Um, they didn't put Salmons in MB. I think Salmons is the only Gen 6 Mega not in, other than the Rayquaza, Diancie, and like the other legendaries. Salmons is like the only regular Pokemon that isn't in. So I think Absol Z will get a good ability. I think all the Z Megas will get a good ability if they don't all have like the same ability in like some scenario, but I'm not sure what would all benefit Absol and Garchomp and Lucario. I don't know. Staraptor is one of the most exciting Pokemon I get to talk about today. They gave it Contrary, which I thought when I saw it on the leaks, I was like, "There's no way they're giving it Contrary. Like that doesn't really make sense thematically for Staraptor." But you know what? Like I think it's really cool. I kind of thought that they'd keep Reckless or Intim on it because it looks really fucking intimidating, and it is a lot more intimidating now that you have to deal with Contrary close combat with a mon that has a good HP stat for Mega, good defense stat, and a good special defense stat where you can keep boosting them, and they're gonna get boosted a lot more than like normal because it has good defenses. And you don't even really have to invest in it. It has a good speed stat as well. 110 is pretty solid. Fighting Flying is a solid offensive and defensive typing as well. Your flying type that's not weak to rocks. Um, being weak to like fairy sucks, but uh, excuse me. You also outspeed like most fairies. I can't think of like a good fairy other than Ivel that is like faster than Staraptor. Other than like a Scarfer, I guess. So yeah, you can probably like you can get off a close combat, you can boost your defenses, and then you could probably tank a special hit pretty well, and then you can roost off the damage as well. Um, the main thing with Staraptor is it doesn't have a way to boost its attack stat, and because of Contrary, you can't click bulk up with it unless you're gonna stay in like regular form and click bulk up with a regular Staraptor, but you're likely going to Mega Evolve to get the Contrary and Close Combat something immediately. So you're not attack boosting, which I actually think keeps it in check. 140 attack set is really, really strong. But in all honesty, a lot of people have already learned how to prep for stuff like Banded Gyapdos, and like Scarf Gyapdos, which is stronger than Scraptor. Choice Band Gyapdos is stronger because I believe it's attack stats like 125. So I could see a scenario where Staraptor like isn't that amazing. It is a lot better than Gyapdos for sure. Gyapdos used to be like a 15-point mon, but I think it fell down to like 10 points now, or like less than 10 points. I think Mega Staraptor is taking Gyapdos' spot at like 15 or 15. Um, because you can kind of click Toxic on it, um, install it, or yeah, you're probably gonna have to click Toxic on it, but you're also um, no, you are boosting your special defense stat with close combat. Well, okay. So in all fairness, you send in a ghost type on this thing. That's how you beat Staraptor because then it can't get the contrary boost. A lot of ghost types get Will-O-Wisp. There you go, and it also lost knockoff, so you don't have to worry about knockoff on Staraptor anymore. Anyways, um, next up is gonna be. Is that it? No, there's gotta be one. No, that's it. Because we're not getting Tatsugiri for some reason. I guess they want to save Megatatsu for the Dondozo format. That's probably like next. Excalibur's not in, which I guess that makes sense, but they didn't put Gliscopod in, and it makes me think that they're gonna give it a good ability. So I'm excited about Gliscopod because I can understand why Excalibur didn't get in. I can understand the Z Mega's not getting in. And I could understand Tatsugiri not being in because I would assume if you're gonna put in Tatsugiri that you're gonna put in Dondozo. I guess it doesn't mean like you're gonna get Dondozo with Tatsugiri. They probably could have put that they could have put Tatsu in on its own, but it makes me think that its ability is probably gonna be a buffed version of Commander. If not, it's just gonna be Commander. So they probably didn't really just care. They probably didn't care to put it in, to be honest. Is that it though? That must be it. Yeah, we covered all the Staraptors, the Raichus. Yeah, that looks like it'll be it for now. A lot longer. Oh, Pokemon changes. Um, so these are the Pokemon that have gotten in to champions. So I'm gonna look at these because I haven't gotten a chance to like look at this yet. So Sceptile got Earth Power, which is good for like Mega Sceptile, because now it can hit the Steel types without having to hit Focus Blast. So that's cool. Swampert got Wave Crash, which is actually, I think, very solid for both versions of Swampert. Mega Swampert's gonna want it for Rain, because now it's a viable Rain Mega again. I think it might move up a point. Maybe 2 points, because Wave Crash is a lot better than Liquidation in terms of damage output. You're a lot more suicidal, but Swampert has a good HP stat as well. Um, Staraptor got Blaze Kick, and it got Brick Break, Bulk Up, and Focus Blast. So you're probably not running any of these, except maybe Blaze Kick for like the Golden Go Aegis Slash matchup, because again, Fighting Flying does not hit Ghost Steel. So you might want Blaze Kick for that type of matchup when you don't get knockoff anymore. It also lost Outrage from ZA, which is interesting, but it got Roost back, so you can use Roost if you're doing it in like a Champions format. So that's very cool. Masharna is in the game for some reason. I don't really know why they put Masharna in the game when they also gave it nothing. When I saw Masharna and like Quillfish, um, was Quillfish even on this list? Oh yeah, Quillfish didn't even get anything. When I saw Vileplume and Masharna, I was like, what if they give Vileplume and Masharna Grassy and Psychic Surge? Because I was like, oh, surely they're not going to add Raichu X without any other like terrain setters to contest it. But no, they just added Raichu X in without anything to contest it. So yeah, but you get Masharna and you get Vileplume. I think Quillfish makes sense. I will stand by the inclusion of Quillfish in this regulation only because you got all of the other Legends Arceus mons except for Overquill and I guess Enamorus, but you got I guess you got the new Hisuian forms. Actually, we didn't get Ursaluna. But we have Sneasler, we have Weirder, we have Basculegion, so I think it was like natural that they could have that they added Overquill. I think it should have been Overquill over Basculegion in the first place because that Basculegion is fucking stupid and insane in this game. But yeah. Anyways, they gave Malamar Poison Jab and Zen Headbutt. That's actually not bad. P-Jab is good coverage for fairies, because again, Malamar has two weaknesses. One of them is fairy. And Zen Headbutt is just a stronger move than Psycho Cut, so that's not too bad for it. They did give Pyra Scorching Sands, so Scorching Sands is new. They did delete Earth Power from its move pool, though. They also gave Electros Rising Voltage, Psychic Things, and Waterfall. I think Rising Voltage works for Eel, because I think Rising Voltage, I think his damage is based on if the opponent is grounded. But the problem with Eel is you're not getting the electric terrain boost with Rising Voltage. I think if that makes sense. Let me calc that actually. Damage calculator. Nope. Damage calculator. Because otherwise I don't know why they give it Rising Voltage. Electros. Discharge versus Rising Voltage. An electric train. Yeah, Rising Voltage is double power in electric train, but you're not getting the boost on top of it. So like if I give it like ice skills, then yes, Rising Voltage is going to be a lot stronger with electric train, but you are still getting the base power boost with it. So that's kind of nice for like VGC. Um they gave it Psychic Fangs, which is nice. I actually thought it had Psychic Fangs already, but it was nice that they gave it to it. And again, Scolipede got Leech Life, Gunk Shot, Trailways. They're all good additions on it, to be honest. Losing U-Turn and First Impression really sucks, though. And Mortal Spin. They didn't let anything keep Mortal Spin, so I added Mortal Spin to the prep doc for no reason, because I thought they were going somewhere. I thought they were gonna do that with those additions. Malamar got they removed Octolock from its move pool. I'm pretty sure Octolock was I think it was a TM in ZA, but only Malamar and Graplock could learn it. It also lost Bulk Up, which I guess makes sense because contrary, but losing close combat sucks. Stealth Rock sucks, but you got decent additions there too. Barbacle got close combat, Waterfall, and Aqua Cutter. So yeah, close combat's good for Barb. Aqua Cutter and Waterfall are like whatever, because I think Aqua Cutter might have a higher crit rate, but you also have Razor Shell. I guess Aqua Cutter is more consistent. That's kind of it. Dragalge got Poison Jab, which is fine if you're running like a physical. I have seen physical Dragalge, but I think you wouldn't run physical Mega Drag. You'd run physical or regular drag with adaptability. Grimstar lost Power Whip and Superpower. That's interesting. Oh wait, no, it returned with Power Whip and Superpower. So it kept these moves from a previous game. But it's not a ZA edition. Grimstar wasn't in ZA. Was Power Whip something it had in Gen 8 and then it lost it in Gen 9? Probably, because Power Whip is something that Gyarados lost, and I think it got Power Whip back. I think that makes sense. Grimstar lost T-Wave in Champions, which is funny. It's funny how bad they want to make these other things compared to fucking Incineroar. Phalanx got Seed Bomb, which is going to be nice for helping break bulky waters, which is one of the things that would wall you otherwise. Not wall, but like they could always take a hit, but now they have to really think about staying in on it. They gave Houndstones and Headbutt and Swagger. That's like whatever. Golden Go got Surf, which I'm surprised it didn't already have that, but I definitely saw that coming. It got Surf in ZA, I believe. So they didn't let it keep the Sob for some reason, and Annihilate didn't get to keep Knockoff. which I kind of forgot that it got knockoff, so it's whatever. But yeah, that is gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Um, hopefully this will help anyone that is drafting in the near future. In SDS or like NGC, one of the leagues I just recently joined as well. Shoutouts to my boy Corrupt and his Nigerians. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.